We're talking linebackers today. That's right. I'm continuing to update my prospect rankings, and we're going to take a look at my top 10 linebackers in the 2024 NFL draft class. But stick with me until the end, because I'm going to give you the guys that just missed the list. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know, so go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, where we had that sweet, fine, elegant football discourse. Let's go ahead, get into the sucker with my number 10. It's Jaylen Henderson out of ODU, baby. That's right. Coming in at 6'1", 227 pounds. He's a former 3-star recruit from the 2021 class. And this cat played running back in high school as well. That's kind of cool. But he also placed 5th in the PIAA State Wrestling Championship. Holla. And that was at 195 pounds. So put on about 30 pounds since. But only had 2 starts his freshman season. That was still good enough to make the Conference USA all-freshman team. Started all 12 games last year, was 3rd team All-American. And then this season, he is back on track. Like, he's a tackling machine. Last season, he led the country in tackles and broke ODU's record for that. He broke the Sun Belt's record for tackles in a season. I think he might be on track to do it again. Rinse and repeat. You love to see it. He has a lot of power in his frame. Hits like a Mack truck. Beep, beep. Choo choo. Love the violent hands he plays with. I love just the angles he takes to get to ball carries. Showcases really good closing speed as well. I kind of mentioned it last season. He led the country in tackles, and that was like the next closest person was like 17 tackles away. The missed tackle rate's nice and low. Last year was 8%. This year it's 6%. And he also he's also a really good pass rusher. 18 pressures, 4 sacks on only 79 pass rushing snaps. Mighty nice. He is a sideline to sideline athlete. Plays with his hair on fire. He's a very rangy athlete with who shows just a nose for the football, and I want to see that translate into the passing game. I want to see that translate into coverage. But he has got a very appealing profile athletically as he kind of develops his coverage instincts. He is young. He's only a true junior, so he might end up coming back or maybe even transferring to a better school, honestly. At this point, he is just a spot dropper and still need to develop his feel for coverage. But like, all in all, man, this is the name of a guy you should know, even if he doesn't declare, maybe in the transfer portal this coming up off season. At number 9, I got Smallmund Jr. out of Georgia, coming in at 6'3", 225 pounds, I believe is his current weight. Yeah, that's what Georgia's got him listed at, 225. So, you know, we're going to have a little problem with the size, a little undersized, but I mean, not the end-all be-all. Linebacker's position that has been getting smaller. But a former 5-state recruit from the 2021 class. He played everywhere in high school. He played linebacker, quarterback, running back, and wide receiver. He had just under 1,200 all-purpose yards and 15 touchdowns his senior year. He was also recruited to play running back for Colorado. That was before Coach Prime. You didn't know, now you know. And he was a primary backup for Georgia in 2021. His freshman season, played a lot on the kickoff unit, kind of played dime backer in their sub packages. And then in 2022, played in 13 games while battling an MCL sprain that caused him to miss 2 games. And he's been solid this season. I get why a lot of people really like him, and a lot of it has to do with the athletic traits. Like, he is stupid explosive. He flies around the field, got that sideline to sideline speed coming downhill. He's like Thomas the Train, just got smoke coming out the top of him, coming down to hit hard and hit fast, because he wants to play physical. There's a want to play physical and a want to take players' heads off. You kind of like that style of play. Long arms, strong arms too, man. He knows how to deconstruct blockers. Uses those long arms to wrap up wrap up ball carriers. This year, the missed tackle rate's up a little bit, but 12% is actually a fine missed tackle rate. It's when you get a little higher to that 18 to 20%, it gets a little bit worrisome, but very fluid mover. I mean, being a former wide receiver, former running back, yeah, I can imagine that he is a flexible athlete, but he is undersized. The dude needs to put more weight on as he gets older. I imagine that will be the case. The length and strength to disengage from blocks are nice, but he needs to do a better job of using those traits to consistently free himself. So that's something I want to see. I want to see a better anchor from him in the run game, and sometimes he just plays too fast. He plays too fast, and it comes to his detriment. Sometimes taking bad angles, maybe overrunning ball carriers. But like all in all, man, very, very solid prospect here. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only 30 bucks by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment, and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet, so send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals, and guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase, and it's a great way to support the channel. Then at number 8, Jaylen Ford out of Texas, coming in at 6'3", 242 pounds. So you like the size. Former 3-star recruit from the 2020 class. Played in all 10 of Texas's games in 2020 as a mainly a special teamer and as a reserve, but he did get a start in the Alamo Bowl, and then he was a rotation player in 2021, but got 3 starts at the end of the season. Started 12 games last year, ended up being 3rd team All-American. And this dude is a plus athlete for the position, plus basically above average. I know that conversation happened on X for some weird reason. Like, oh, I don't know what they mean by plus, and it's like it just means above average. It's lingo taken from I think it's baseball scouting reports, but he is a downhill defender that brings a hard-hitting style. He shows the quicks to get in position and meets ball carriers before they can get to the second level. Good nose for the football, and I mean you can see that with his defensive stops. If you're unfamiliar, that's a PFF stat that just means plays that result in 0 to negative yards on a play. So you love to see that. Over last season, actually had 4 interceptions, 2 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles. This year, not nearly as abundant with the playmaking ability. Only 1 forced missed tackle, 2 interceptions though. No pass breakups, but still, man, he's shown that he can do that as a starter. So you like that. You love the pursuit speed. You love just his ability as a tackler. It's really tightened up this season. Only 8% missed tackle rate. And I will say with him, sometimes he gets caught looking in the backfield for too long or staring down the quarterback's eyes in coverage. He can be susceptible to misdirection or pre-snap motion or just buying into the quarterback's eye candy if they're good like that and could look off defenders. Good athlete, but I wouldn't say a great one. Like, doesn't have ideal closing speed to run down ball carriers towards the sidelines or loop in after the quarterback, and doesn't. And like I said, man, this guy's improved as a tackler this year. I think he's done a much better job at squaring up and securing the bag, so to speak. So, like, for me, man, he is moving up boards. He has been very, very good. Really, only 1 bad game on the he's had 1 bad game this season. It's probably the best way to say it. And that happened against Oklahoma, which ended up being like Texas' only current loss of the season. At number 7, I got Jeremiah Trotter Jr. out of Clemson, coming in at 6 foot 230. I know. Size is gonna be an issue, but he is also a true junior, but I don't think the height's gonna get much better for him. But dude was former 4-star recruit, and his father, yes, is Jeremiah Trotter, who used to be an all-pro linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles. Did miss games his junior year with a broken arm in high school. But when he arrived at Clemson, he didn't really get to start till last season in 2022, where he was a second-team All-American. Unfortunately, the play, at least to start the year, wasn't what a lot of people were hoping for, and it's really cleaned up since. But you do look at his limitations, like sometimes he will fall for motion, play action, misdirection, and I don't think he necessarily has the athletic ability to make up for it. Like, these aren't elite athletic traits we're talking about. He is a little smaller than you would like and does get knocked back sometimes at the point of attack, but he's young. He has plenty of time to put on more bulk, and I mean, the dude is kind of like compact. It's going to be he's working with a lower center of gravity, and a lot of times that actually works to his benefit, as he does a good job of getting leverage on would-be blockers. But he has a natural feel for the position. This season, it hasn't really been showcased a ton. As you look at him, he's probably like, at least coverage. That's kind of the first thing, not necessarily the first thing, but one of the first things you ask about, like, okay, what can this linebacker do in coverage? And you're like, okay, he's probably a minimal game guy, someone who is not necessarily going to create havoc or have splash plays in coverage, but someone who can essentially, okay, if this guy catches the ball, say 4 or 5 yards, those are only going to be the only yards he gets on me. He's that type of a linebacker when it comes to coverage. Hasn't been utilized. I think it's his best, to the best of his abilities as a pass rusher. I want to see Clemson kind of do that a little bit more often, like they did last year. Last year, he had 23 pressures and 6 sacks. Those numbers are down this year. But I think he plays well out in space. I think he's got a sturdy enough frame because of how stout he is. He plays much bigger than his size. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if he comes out this year. If he does, man, I still think I just like him better day 2. And if he ends up falling, I mean, I can see it happening. I just can. But I love this dude's game. I think it's already there for him when it comes to being up here. The question is just gonna be what his testing is, because I don't think he's gonna like test horribly, but I am kind of curious what maybe those explosive numbers look like. What do the agility numbers look like? I think he's probably gonna have a pretty solid 40 though, because he has flashed really good closing speed. But got him here at number 7. Going on to number 6, I got Dumis Johnson out of Georgia. Not having like a spectacular year, but it's relatively solid. He's coming in at 6'1", 245, so he's got that nice little girth to him. Former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 class. In 2021, mainly played as a reserve, played on a lot of special teams. And then last season, he started 14 games, made second team All SEC. And I just don't think he's taken the step that I'd hope that he would thus far this season. But there's a lot to like about him, man, because he does play with good speed. He does showcase good sideline-to-sideline ability, both in the run and in the passing game. He sees the field very well. He's a very natural-born leader, very vocal leader. Kind of took over the Kobe Dean role as captain of the defense. And like, the things you're going to dislike about him is just no splash plays in coverage, a guy that just needs to trust his eyes more in coverage, and just feels like he's a little late to the play there or late to the pass. He is a very aggressive tackler, so his missed tackle rate is a little bit higher than you would like. It is down this year, but 12% down from basically 17% last year, so that's a plus. But like all in all, someone I was hoping and expecting to take that next jump in just hasn't quite really as of yet. Then we're going to the top 5, and we're going to start with Cedric Gray out of UNC. He is a Tar Heel baby, coming in at 6'2", 235, former 4-star recruit from the 2020 class. Basically played special teams all his freshman season, and then started the final 11 games in 2021, where he was tied for 4th in the ACC with tackles. Last season, made first team all ACC. I think I had one too many C's there. But this year, well on his way to do the same thing. He might be the best run stuffer in this class. I really believe that, because he moves well. He showcased really good speed, the ability to be able to turn and run with tight ends. There's very little bad weight on him. He keeps himself relatively clean from contact when pursuing ball carriers, so he doesn't get lost in traffic. You really, really like that. And usually the first guy to get to the ball carrier, man. And he's shown to have a nose for the football, at least he has in the past. This year, I mean, he's got some ball skills this season, 2 pass breakups and a interception. And the completion rate is relatively fine. Typically, you want it between 70 to 80%. He's at 75, so he's right there in the middle. And I mean, I don't hate the size too much, but technically it is a bit undersized. He's involved always in the play, and as a result, sometimes he does miss tackles. Last season, it was 10%. This year, it's 12%, so still a fine number. I do question how he will sometimes handle, at least how will he handle physicality at the NFL level when it comes to making plays around the line of scrimmage, because there's often times he chooses just to kind of stand in a gap rather than shoot it. And I'd like to, you know, see him get a little more active in that regard. But like, kind of nitpicking here, man, I'm a huge fan of Cedric Gray, and he's actually pretty close to my number 4, who is Tommy Eichenberg out of Ohio State, coming in at 6'2", 239. The name should ring a bell. He is the brother of Liam Eichenberg, great Dolphins offensive lineman. No, not really. But Richard, his freshman season in 2019, was really just a reserve and a rotation player for the next 2 seasons. And then last year, he started all 13 games and actually made first team all Big Ten. Has had a relatively okay season thus far, but nothing like it was last year. Last year was kind of the big breakout year for him, and I don't think it's been nearly as spectacular as it was last season. But he is a very aggressive downhill player, well, with I would say above average physicality and athleticism. He's got desirable length, plays with good balance, a very aggressive downhill defender with a pretty quick trigger, often sniffs out the play before it happens. And I mean, that's still apparent in the run game. It really, really is. He was much more dynamic last season, though, as a blitzer. I think part of that may be just utilization, or maybe I don't know. It's just not nearly been effective this season, but it's got decent sideline to sideline speed, takes good angles when pursuing ball carriers. And I will say Ohio State normally does a good job of protecting their linebackers in coverage. And the dude has the length and athleticism to make splash plays. And I just want to see a little bit more of those. There are plays that sometimes he will incorrectly locate where the ball is. So maybe someone who can get who can be deceived by misdirection or pre-snap motion, but all in all, like all around, just a really good player who you just kind of got to project when it comes to coverage at the next level. Next at number 3, I have Junior Colston out of Michigan, coming in at 6'3", 247. Already love the size. Former 4-star recruit from the 2021 class. And he has a very interesting story of how he kind of arrived here in America when he was 7. Unfortunately, his father died. Very tough circumstance there. And he was placed in an orphanage in Port-au-Prince, operated by his uncle at the age of 8. He met Steve and Melanie, a couple of Americans who were visiting Haiti on a church mission after the earthquake there, and he was then adopted. And then there was a very lengthy process when it came to his adoption and just the whole immigration process. But eventually they got that handled, moved to Tennessee, and decided to start playing some football. It ended up playing linebacker in high school, also returned kicks back in high school, but showed up here in Michigan, had 7 starts as a freshman and contributed a ton on special teams. He started all 14 games in 2022 and made second team all Big Ten, having a pretty darn good season too thus far. Made Bruce Feldman's Freaks list back in 2022. He's a rangy defender with really good quicks, especially before initiating contact. Just the dude moves very, very well. You'd be hard pressed to be like, oh yeah, like he looks like a linebacker, but moves like a safety. He brings good pop when working off blockers and just a nice punch and attacks with violent hands. He works himself, does a good job of working himself back to the play. A very good finisher. Last year, 6% missed tackle rate. This year, it's down to 4%. And even when he isn't first of the play, he is really good at moving the pile and limiting yards after contact. Very dangerous player as a free rusher. Like, he's displayed very terrifying closing speed. And like, all in all, man, you really love this dude, and you're kind of like, you love the size, you love the ability, you just want to see more plays in coverage. Honestly, like, just the splash plays aren't there. 2 pass breakups last year, nothing really to speak of this season. To be fair, like, balls don't really come his way. But yeah, like, that's honestly my biggest gripe is, like, I'm just kind of curious when he gets tested more in coverage, how will it look for him? Because like this dude has the build and the athletic traits to go much higher than currently where I have him midday 2, but big fan of his. Number 2, Barrett Carter out of Clemson, the other Clemson linebacker, coming at 6'1", 225. He is pretty darn young, so I expect that size to get better, but he was a former 5-star recruit from the 2021 class. Initially recruited as a safety, no kidding given that size. Played in every game for Clemson his freshman season, where he split time between the box and the slot. And then last year, he played in 13 games, missing 1 with a concussion, but made first team All-American. And really the story with him is he's just not been as productive as he was last season, now playing more of a traditional linebacker role. So it looks like there is a little bit of a learning curve there for him, but he's up here so high just because of how ridiculous of an athlete he is. And just he's got nutty explosiveness, very quick trigger, scary closing speed. You love just how he pursues ball carriers. He has the speed to play in coverage, and he's just kind of learning it this year. How do I do that over the middle more often now that I'm not kind of playing essentially in the slot? But freaky athlete with a long frame that just kind of needs polish, and maybe honestly might need a little bit more time, because yeah, currently he is undersized. Currently a little unreliable as a tackler. 13% missed tackle rate last year. This year it's up to 16%, so not trending in the right direction. Kind of hoping that number gets up. He does get upfield quickly, but he sometimes kind of loses ball carrying on traffic, so just kind of needs to learn how to manage, how to go through traffic. So someone with all the traits, just needs the fine tuning. Which leads me, my number one, Danny Stutsman out of Oklahoma. I love this cat. This is an early my guy, coming in at 6'4", 241, so already looking good on the size. Former 4-star recruit from the 2021 class, played linebacker and wide receiver in high school. His father played football and his mother played basketball, all at Baylor. His sister played softball at Florida State. Won a national championship there back in 2018. So that's kind of cool. Was mainly a reserve his freshman year, but then became a starter last season. Led the Big 12 in tackles. Love to see it. And this cat is so freaking explosive. Like, you hear that play with your hair on fire, and you look at a guy like Stutsman. He is always around the stinking football, plays with a huge motor. And like the moment this guy just hits his trigger, he shows good acceleration, good closing speed, and just plays with a little bit of reckless abandonment. He's got the missed tackle rate down to 9%. Last year it was 15, and just given how like the volume he sees, how often he is around the football, those are pretty solid numbers, especially this year. Very good numbers. He sees the field very well in front of him and won't break until he sees it. Till the play, like, he plays very well underneath, man. He's shown some splash plays and coverage, at least he did last season. This year they haven't been that apparent, but he has been so much more just destructive as a pass rusher, whether it's like shooting gaps, delayed blitz, or just him like, hey, you're gonna just come off the edge. Like, he's been so much better on 59 pass rushing snaps, 12 pressures, 2 sacks, so solid. His ability to stack and shed and anchor are still kind of a work in process, or work in progress right now. But man, he has the ability, man. He has the ability. This for me is the cat in this class. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the guys who just missed the list, and I want to talk about a few of the guys that I haven't watched, but some of y'all in the comment section have talked about, and I look forward to actually watching. We got Edrin Cooper out of Texas A&M. Haven't got to him yet. Wasn't even on my radar till Mel Kiper had him as his linebacker 1. So I'm like, oh, hello. Maybe this linebacker class is a little bit more meatier than I thought it'd be. There's Deontay Lawson, who when I'm watching Alabama, I've noticed him, but haven't like sat down and strictly like watched him for an eval. But some of the other guys that I have watched, you have like Trevin Wallace out of Kentucky, who he's putting it all together, but he's got nutty tools. You got Peyton Wilson, who, man, he's a guy you want to put in day 2, but just his injury history is a little bit scary. Curtis Jacobs out of Penn State's having a very solid season. And then there's my boy who's killing it right now at Washington, that I liked a couple of years ago, had an injury, but he's back and playing well, is Eddie Foshu out of Washington, man. Kind of a compact build, but like, dude's a gamer, man. Dude really is. He understands the linebacker position, and he understands his size. Like, he knows how to get skinny between blocks. He knows how to get to ball carriers. But man, I just want to give him a shout out. I think he might be more of this day 3 guy, but like maybe mid to late. But golly, just one hell of a football player. Some people probably even mention Ben Bywater, and I think he's fine. He's fine, but he's more like mid. Yeah, let's go middle of day 3 for me. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing, and as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.